Wow. I love a value meal. How is your food looking over there, Ian?
Yeah, it's a burger.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
Yeah, so unfortunately you only got one thing, and I have all of this. It's super yummy, and it's actually unlimited refills. Can you believe that?
Unbelievable. It looks delicious, truly.
This is exactly the feeling you are going to have when you buy a season pass. A season pass gets you unlimited boot camp access. So instead of your single hamburger, you're going to have everything that you could possibly want. You can attend multiple boot camps. You can enjoy everything about that. You've got virtual mentoring hours associated with that as well. And our on-demand learning subscription. So if you know this is the direction you are going to go, which I can assure you these techs are not going anywhere. They're only going to be more important. A season pass is definitely the way to go. All right, I can't keep the thing going. Welcome in, everybody. This is Ian Warren. He is our on-demand learning specialist and YouTube czar. He deals with everything on-demand learning, YouTube, and I have to say, Ian has probably seen more on-demand learning videos than anybody. Can you walk us through how we do quality assurance on the on-demand learning, how we look for improvement, and kind of how that looks when you're on that grind set of going through the content?
Yeah, so I mean, we have a lot of courses we're putting out all the time, and I'm always looking to see, what do we have that's going on with the older courses and stuff before I got here? Is there anything that needs to be fixed? What do we need to do for that? We have a lot of courses that we're redoing entirely, though, and stuff that we're going to be coming out with that, pretty much completely covers a lot of these older things we did, but with, much more quality, and obviously technology's changing all the time, so we have to update our content to be able to do that. Yeah, I would say I really mostly pay attention to you guys. I get a lot of feedback and, different folks emailing us about like, hey, there's, some slight audio issues on this and the weird blip on that. And yeah, ultimately that's the baseline for, just improving the content. But I mean, as for the courses and stuff, yeah, I have seen more than anybody else. Most of my job is I personally sit down and I will speed it up a bit, but I will watch through all of our content that we make, all of the new stuff that's coming out. I can assure you I have seen it and I have watched it and I have given it my rubber stamp of approval.
Is there a really slow talker on the on-demand learning, or any of the trainers you have to really speed them up? Is there anybody that they sound a little too slow for your pace?
Honestly, I'd say it's the opposite. Most of the people I can
Oh.
think of, we go really fast sometimes. We got a lot of experts who just know so much about what they're talking about that once they get going, they just keep going, and they don't really stop and they don't slow down. So it gets a little bit hard to follow. And that's what I was going to say is, yes, I have seen a lot of courses. I'm not saying I've absorbed all of that, really. I try to get a lot of the quality assurance side of things. I'm paying attention to all those details.
You get the pause button. You can always go back and repeat. And that's kind of the advantage of things like a season pass. You might need to go through a second boot camp, attend the third day, see what DAX was about, what visuals were about, or on the on-demand learning. Take your time with it. Go back, rinse, repeat. And another thing that you mentioned was kind of just adding in content. We have added in I would say this year alone, we've already added almost 25, 50 courses of brand new stuff for everybody. And again, technology changes, so as you're working in the on-demand learning, you will see brand new updates. I know for me, I've just created a whole suite of Snowflake classes. So if you're interested in Snowflake, that is already there and coming to you even faster than objects appear. I'm thinking about the car mirrors. So you've got a lot in store for you. Now, Ian, a couple of things, speaking about going through the content and how that works, a lot of things we do here is we have our YouTube channel. By the way, thinking about today, another reminder, all of our sessions today are recorded. You're going to be able to go back, watch them on the on-demand learning, watch them here on YouTube, which we have to say, you better slap that like button while you're at it. But thinking about, one of the things we do is we want to make the best content for YouTube for our on-demand learning, and we do some storyboarding. We discuss Walk me through kind of what a storyboarding session looks like before a video is even filmed. How does that look like?
Well, I would say first and foremost, before we even storyboard, I take a look, like, where is there a need? What other problems do people need solving? What else does our audience need to figure out? What are some other weird niche things that we need to be able to figure out? I first and foremost, I start with that, and I have a whole queue of ideas I give out to people, and a lot of the trainers come to me with their own ideas, because they know a bit better than I do sometimes about, like, specifically, what is going to be doing better in different technologies and different people using it. We have a massive net of audience to pull from, so there's a lot of things to consider with that all the time. But once we have those ideas, and once we're actually able to sit down and talk about it, I do have a little storyboarding area downstairs where I just sit on the whiteboard, and it's not like a traditional more animation or like big CGI movie storyboard. This is more of like
that'd be cool.
It would be really cool. Yeah, don't get me wrong. I'd love to get down that way someday. But we talk about the topic. I have them lay out to me. Okay, like before we worry about any other shenanigans, what are we talking about here? Like, what problem are you solving, and how are we getting across to helping our audience? And so we sit down. I always figure out, like, how can I even talk about it, because again, I go through a lot of this stuff, but I'm not the most technical guy. I have learned a good bit in my time here for sure, but sometimes there's very specific things that come up that I just have no idea how to frame.
The advanced DAX videos.
Yeah, exactly. Way over my head. And so I immediately, the first thing I even figure out is like, okay, how do I even talk to people so that this will make sense? Because I do a lot of our framing of the videos and stuff, and so we have that laid out. We lay out the actual structure of the video. We have different little sticky notes where we move around the body of it and figure out exactly how it should flow and how it should sound. I even have them, I sit down and use that time to even draw out mock-ups of our thumbnails, because I make most of our thumbnails as well. And again, that's hard to make something, that communicates what we're helping you out with, sometimes from a guy who's not very technical. But yeah, we draw the mock-ups of the thumbnails. I mean, we talk about the hook. Everybody's always worried about the hook. That's, always the most important part of every video. And, even I do feel that. I'm not at all trying to discredit that. But, just mostly figuring out the framing of it, how we're talking, how can I, we have some people who like to go on for a while and some people who keep it a little too short. So, getting them to fall somewhere in the middle, kind of, how are you thinking
good ground.
about it? Yeah, exactly.
I love that. Well, hey, that is a little bit of a behind the scenes. I'm just thinking about today, and a lot of people have seen kind of the like wide angle frame of the whole setup. A lot goes into events like today, onto the on-demand learning, onto the YouTube, to virtual mentoring, to hackathons, to everything. It is a full-scale production, and there's a lot that happens behind the scenes. It's kind of why I wanted to bring you on, is introduce people to a little bit of some of the stuff that maybe they don't get to see when they watch the polished video and they go, wow, I really like Pragmatic Works training. There's something uniquely different about what we do. And you've seen today, from the education perspective, we've got teachers on staff. Like literally, I was counting up the other day, we have like 100+ years of teaching experience in the building today alone. And other people, when they're working in, that even goes up. You've got that, you've got all the tech knowledge, you've got everything that goes behind the videos. Another thing is, when you are subscribed to the on-demand learning, one of the things you're going to have access to is, of course, all the 200+ classes, but you're also going to have a feedback area. This feedback area, we, the trainers, everybody here, we are on that like all the time, seeing new feedback come in. So when you get stuck, we're going to offer the solution. And sometimes it's like, man, I recorded that class like 2 years ago. Let me look. They send screenshots and I'm like, oh my gosh, wait, I know what it is. And that happened just yesterday. We had like a ton of feedback and everyone was like, oh my gosh, okay, we got to get these done fast. And we try to get it like within an hour or two. And I had one, it was all about incremental refresh. Great class if you have not watched it. I know. what? But it was, they did not name one of their parameters. And that was the simple thing. That's the things that, like me, I'm trained. I know it. I could see the screenshot. It's good to go. And I can go ahead and get that person right back on track. That is just another thing that maybe you don't get to see, but is a part of that $19.99 that you're going to spend. I guarantee you, you know you're going to use the tool. And you've got all of us there, plus other chats that we've got in Teams dedicated for you. Discord, we're there as well. So you've got this full experience behind the camera. And not everybody gets to see that. That's kind of why I wanted to just pick your brain on some of the overall questions and things that you get to see. Now I got another one. Out of the many, many classes you've watched, is there one that really stuck with you, whether you liked the technology or it just got you just like really jazzed up? Anything like that you can think of?
I got two.
Okay.
I would say the first one that I could think of is just because it's super useful to me. It's more recent. Both of them are more recent courses, but I believe it was Angelica or Allison doing Mastering Windows Keyboard Shortcuts. That one was amazing for me. I've gotten a lot more efficient with using my computer and just, I don't know, it was much more useful and tangible to me, so I really absorbed it a lot better, as well as a lot of the good Excel courses and stuff like that. And then my other favorite, and this is a brand new course actually, it came out like this week or last week, I believe, Python for Data Analysis.
Oh.
It was not the Snowflake class, but Python for Data Analysis, our good boy Zane Goodman from the Fabric section there, he busted his butt trying to get that course done, and it is really a top of the line. He went above and beyond, and I'm really happy with the quality, and I think that Python's something that a lot of people should be learning.
I second that because I walked through with Zane the new Python for Data and Analyst Bootcamp. That thing is a beast. I mean, you really dive into the fundamentals of Python, and I see this all the time. A lot of people out there are paying like huge money to attend weeks and weeks of Python training. I know for one, I've seen a lot of those too. I've learned some Python in my day, and it's just not structured the way we can fit stuff into a boot camp. So speaking of new boot camps that are out there, definitely check out the Python boot camp along with that Python class. I got to second it. It was really, really cool to see some of the stuff that Zane brought in, some of the use cases too. And like you mentioned, you just saw Zane really dive in to Microsoft Fabric, which is the hottest commodity. I mean, look at it. Fabric, we wear it. We all have it. Everybody uses it. Michaels sells it. Now, it is really that push into this big data atmosphere, and we are so much so in that TikTok era. We got to be fast. We got to be quick-witted. We got to get stuff out there. We got to handle big data. And thinking traditionally, the role of an analyst, right? Kind of this back room, like, oh, I'm dealing with reports, someone in IT, really leveraging things and getting inundated with requests. Now we open it up, right? Power BI, Excel, these are democratization of data tools. And now we're at that third data revolution, which is we need big data, we need it now, we need to be able to handle structured and unstructured, whether we're leveraging lake houses, pipelines, all the great Fabric terminology. I won't dive in too crazy. But we've got that set up, and we are going to need experts that can handle that problem. So as a data analyst out there right now, I really encourage you to start exploring Microsoft Fabric because that's the direction we're going. And another thing is we have our ear to the ground here, right? We get to see some of the trends, what people are asking, and it's definitely something to check out. Just the other day, I was on the on-demand myself. I had to look at some of the Fabric classes just to refresh a couple things, see some of those solutions like you are probably going to do as well. Well, I know you see a lot of content, and you get to practice a lot with Cert XP to check out the question quality, how that looks. Tell us a little bit about Cert XP, why that's nice, the videos associated with it. What's your experience and what you've heard from people?
So I definitely haven't done as much with Cert XP, but I've had a couple things I've worked on with it. And when it comes down to it, I would say for me personally, I love the gamified experience of it all. I think it's a lot more engaging and gets me to really be drawn in much more to it. And I think I see that reflected from a lot of people that I've heard from who have used the product. But yeah, no, it's a good bit goes into that too. Cert XP is something that really takes quite a few people to work together on, and it is an endeavor for sure.
One thing, speaking to the videos that have, every time you try out Cert XP, this premier program to try to pass these examinations. So yeah, you're learning the stuff on the on-demand learning. And as a part of that, you've got access to really put your foot in the door to pass these examinations. I know for me, for the fabric exam, that thing was a doozy. I was asking Mitchell and Zane, well, I saw this question and I don't even know what it's about. Like, where do I get started? And they would direct me and put me in the right direction. And it's really tantamount to why I actually passed that exam. And I think back to some of the questions we've made there. Another thing that we have is on staff, you've got people like me and others who are trained in creating these exam questions that mimic the examination, that fit to the spirit of the exam. So when you walk in and you sit down to take your exam to really be a truly certified data analyst or fabricator or whatever great exam acronym that is out there, you feel really, truly confident. I had someone the other day in the PL 300 boot camp. They literally were like, all right, I think I'm ready. And they did not show up on Friday. And I was like, are you coming to the boot camp? And they're like, I actually took the exam today and I passed.
Oh, wow.
So it's
awesome.
Those things that you are going to have access to. All right, well, our upcoming session is going to be great. You're going to be working with Allison Gonzalez on SharePoint, how to integrate SharePoint into this overall solution. And you can see we're putting the icing on the cake now. I mean, I think about Great British Baking Show. We're getting to the main event,
I'll
really.
call this is the icing, and we have the cherry coming right after.
Ooh, I like that even better. You're going to see how to integrate SharePoint much more effectively into this overall project. I think it's going to be a great one. We will see you back here at Mission Control in a bit. All right, Ian, I appreciate it, brother. Thanks so much for joining in, giving us behind the scenes, and see you around.